Okay, look, I have something really important to say. Wrestling is performance art. It just is.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling. Let's get ready to rumble!
You have athletes playing characters in scripted by the way, not fake, scripted matches in front of a live audience. It's basically theatre with chairs and cages and cowboys and occasionally dinosaur people. Anyway, there's a movie playing in cinemas now called Gila Gusti, and it's about Mamat and Zul, who are diehard fans of a local wrestler named Naga. The thing is, the movie is somewhat based on the Malaysian pro wrestling scene and stars actual wrestlers from promotions like MyPW and APAC Wrestling. Yeah, Malaysia has a pro wrestling scene. Here's the thing. See, when people think of wrestling, they think of scenes like this.
There's the real John Cena! Look out! Undertaker's turned into a look of rage! It's the most electrifying move in sports entertainment today! Oh, the people's elbow!
But the WWE isn't the only wrestling company in the world. It's just the biggest and the most popular. Smaller independent wrestling communities exist everywhere, including here in Malaysia. And the local scene isn't new. MyPW or Malaysia Pro Wrestling was started in 2015 by Ayaz Shaukat Fonseca. This guy.
My main aim is always to be a pro wrestler. Then when I went to the film industry, I was already doing stunt for about, I think, close to 5 to 6 years.
Right.
And I thought to myself that I love wrestling so much and stunts is almost the same as pro wrestling. So why not try to open an industry here in Malaysia? Because there's no such industry in Malaysia. I know there's a huge market of Malaysian wrestling fans.
Shaukat has now moved on to APAC Wrestling, and both these companies have put on shows with regional and international wrestlers, held tryouts, and trained dozens of wrestlers over the last few years. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, it sounds like fun, but what are the chances of local wrestlers getting hired by the WWE? I mean, that's the goal, right? Chup. Hold on. First of all, wrestling is changing. The rise of companies like AEW means that there are more opportunities for everyone. But what if I told you in 2021 that WWE hired a wrestler named Dante Chen from Singapore, and that Chen won his first match on WWE TV against Trey Baxter? Or that a local wrestler by the name of Nodiana or Phoenix gained worldwide recognition by being the first ever hijab-wearing wrestling champion. She was even noticed by WWE superstar Mustafa Ali. Or that Malaysian wrestlers have had matches with wrestling legends like Tajiri in Johor or Shane Hurricane Helms here in KL. Or that WWE Hall of Famer and legend Booker T has himself endorsed the Malaysian wrestling scene and people like Shaukat as someone who could one day show up on WWE TV.
He's a kid that's so amazing. This kid started watching videos. He started watching the best wrestlers in the world, and he became something special and created his own wrestling organization in Malaysia. And he said, because of Booker T, they have wrestling in Malaysia. And I got goosebumps just talking about that story right now.
The point is, regardless of WWE and AEW, Malaysia has its own pro wrestling scene. I'd say that the local wrestling industry deserves to be supported and funded to continue growing in the country. It's easy to call it fake, but the truth is, wrestling is a highly complex art form that takes years of physical training, requires stunts, precise coordination, acting, script writing, showmanship. It's a whole production. The moves and the injuries are very real, and most times independent wrestlers have other jobs because they don't get paid nearly enough to do the things that they do in the ring. Our local wrestlers are not able to put on shows because of COVID, but when they do, I recommend going to one of their shows with an open mind because it really is so much fun once you get into it. Anyway, who's your favorite wrestler of all time? And are you into Malaysian pro wrestling? Comment, let us know. By the way, Google pro wrestling and it literally says that wrestling is a form of performance art. Just saying.